chiesto cosa c'era,
Vabbè, hai fatto lo
perché ho chiamato un altro che ha detto di informarsi cosa c'era.
Sì?
Yeah.
Pakistan immediately links to more general and burning issue at international level, from the domain of big world powers until the atomic bomb. What is your position on the current political situation in Pakistan?
A very sad situation. Unfortunately, I think it's a country that is in a position, or it is not in a position to actually make its own decisions, you know, and so the decisions are made for it, and the people that, you know, I mean, it's a country that obviously has a lot of political problems, not a place where I think the voice of the people is expressed properly.
On a more general point of view, what do you think about democracy and its actual realization?
I don't think that we actually see democracy in most parts of the world, even in places where we are supposed to believe that there is a democratic situation. I don't think it exists. Maybe in the future, but at the moment I don't see real democracy in practice.
I find your Pakistan origin, even in your works, that I interpret who almost like totem and fetishes of a post-nuclear scenario. What are the symbols of the great Indian tradition that you brought with you to the United States?
When you talk about fetishes and totems, I'm actually, for my work, looking more at the history of sculpture. So obviously when you look at the history of sculpture, the Indian sculpture has a very strong tradition, but so do other parts of the world where, I mean, you look at Egyptian or African, and they all have, there is always some form of totemic sculpture. The Pacific Northwest in America has beautiful totems, which, you know, so basically I look at, I'm not specifically bringing something, I'm actually trying to discover myself. So what comes through in the work is probably something that has been there from before. So for me, it's more of a discovering new forms of making sculpture, but obviously part of your past or your remembrances come into it.
Okay. Always thinking about the post-atomic, your installations seem to come out from a creation for a certain type of a film like Blade Runner. What are the genres and the directors that you most love?
I like Fassbinder, I like James Cameron, Ridley Scott, who made Blade Runner, I mean, he's very good, and a lot of others, Werner Herzog. The post-apocalyptic, when I'm making the work, it's not like I'm necessarily thinking about that. I'm actually trying to make more traditional forms of, you know, dealing with figurative sculpture. When things arrive in the sculpture that hint towards the post-apocalyptic or the political or other things, then I let it happen. Sometimes I obscure it, sometimes I don't, but it's not something that I'm consciously sort of trying to portray, you know. There are a lot of other things. When you talk about Blade Runner, my interest in science fiction is also very strong. So authors like Philip K. Dick. So, you know, I come to thinking about different things, you know.
Okay, yes. In fact, in other interview, you have defined your word a landscape of human debris. What is your existential vision?
Well, you look around, there is a lot of, I mean, there is a lot of destruction going on, and I guess it's hard to avoid. So, besides, you know, human lives, also in terms of just the way, you know, I guess you see a lot of garbage all over, and the landscape of human debris is something that, you know, comes to mind when I'm making my work. So.
And do you think that your modus operandi, how you work, to assemble different materials taken from everyday life, approach you to problems related to the recycling and the globalization?
Well, I mean, I live in the States where there's a lot of stuff is thrown away, which is not used, and not all of it is recycled. And where I come from in Pakistan, like nothing is actually thrown away. You sell your garbage. You know, people come, they buy different things from you, and stuff that would normally be thrown away. So and also because I like using inexpensive materials due to reasons of, you know, obviously due to not having a lot of money when I was initially starting out, and so it sort of all comes together. You use found materials, you make ways of changing their personality, and I'm interested in the history of assemblage, and so you put everything together and the recycling happens.
Okay. And from a more closely creative point of view, how much is important for you to compare every day with your husband, an artist too, with whom you share the part of your training and now share your poetry?
We have a very strong relationship in terms of discussing our work. So I think, you know, probably we are each other's strongest critics. So it keeps you sort of awake, and it's nice to have somebody always there that you can sort of find, you know, ask for their critical opinion.
The last one. You are one of the few artists of the Biennale who lived a long residence here in Carrara. Do you think that might be useful experience for other young artists?
For me, it's been really nice. Wanted the chance to spend some time in Italy and in Carrara, which I had never visited before, was obviously a reason why I decided to come, and also the nature of my work, which does not deal with fabrication, required me to be here. So it's been a nice experience, and it's also kind of helped me realize the sculpture, which I've, you know, usually I take a little bit more time to make it, but I think just visiting the various different sites and quarries and factories, it's kind of, because I like the industrial aspect of Carrara, because I'm sort of attracted to that. I like industrial materials, I like industrial sites, and I think that it's helped me kind of understand a little bit what I'm so I can actually complete the work before I leave. And it would depend on, I mean, I think it would be a nice experience, but it depends if, you know, what your work is like.
Yeah,
okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You can edit it.